The opinions of the commentator or commentators are solely those of the commentators and not of CJAD 800 or Astral.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult Fuller Landau, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
7:08 on CJAD. Welcome to another edition of today's Entrepreneur presented by Fuller Landau. My name is Dan Delmar, along with my co-host, Fuller Landau's Josh Miller. Welcome back, Josh.
Hello, Dan.
And I'm getting really hungry, Josh. We're going to talk cheese and fine Italian food tonight. I'm very excited.
We're going to talk about a delicious product, but more importantly, a family business that dates back a good 28 years or so, even 38 years, excuse me. And we welcome to the studio this evening Patricia Occhiuto of Baie Fromages, who is a second generation in the business. And we welcome Patricia to our show.
Thank you very much.
And let's get right into it. We'll let the hunger pangs go for a bit. And Patricia, tell us a little bit about Baie Fromages, where you are today, and where and when and how it got started.
All right. Well, what we are is we are an Italian specialty food shop. We specialize in cheeses, so we carry over 300 different types of cheeses arriving from all over Italy, from the Alps to Sicily, and then we also carry a wide selection of other European cheeses, and of course, a nice selection of the Quebec cheeses. We also have a lot of other beautiful grocery items like oils and pastas, a lot of prepared foods. We also offer gift baskets, especially with the holidays coming around. It's a big product for us. And where we come from is my father started the store back in 1972. He immigrated to Canada in 1969. And he's basically been in the cheese business for his entire life, since as far back as he can remember, running his own store in Milan, and then immigrating to Canada, and then opening up his own store here on Jean Talon Street near Papineau. And at first, we were mainly a small cheese store serving the Italian clientele that was living in the neighborhood. And over time, we've increased our square footage, our space, and also increased our product lines to include many more grocery items, larger cheese selection, European cold cuts, and our clientele is now very varied, many different nationalities from across the city. People come from as far as Ottawa and Quebec City to come and find that one product that they can't find elsewhere. So we've really grown a lot over the years, in the past 38 years.
Your dad that came overseas, and certainly with an Italian mentality, it's great work ethic coming here and seeing all the different changes over the years, adjusting, as you say, growing a little bit, adding product. How capable, or what was his philosophy in changing and finding product and growing his business?
Well, his main philosophy has always been hard work, and he's always worked 7-day weeks and many, many long hours, and he still does today. He's very, very much involved in the business. And he's always been very aware of the fact that you need to be in touch with your clientele, and you need to know not only your products, but also who you're selling them to in order to succeed. And he'll often say that back in the 70s, when he opened up, there were many Italian immigrants who tried to sort of make it with, opening up their own stores and selling Italian products. But 38 years later, he's the only one left. He's the one who's really... La Baie des Fromages is now the place to go to for Italian cheese products and Italian specialty food products. And the reason for that is that he's really been in touch with his clients, and we all have actually been very much in touch with our clients, and we know just to make sure that we evolve with their demands and their requests and the way they buy and so on.
So how did you get into this business?
I've grown up in this business. I've been helping out at the store as far back as I can remember, doing whatever little tasks I can do at a very young age. And worked in the store throughout my studies. And it was sort of a natural thing for me to come into the business and to be an entrepreneur with my father and my sister and be in the family business. It was just a natural progression, I guess.
Was your background in business or in cheese or food products?
Well, like I said, I grew up in the business, so my cheese and my food products, I've always been very familiar with them. My studies led me to become a CA, and I practiced the profession for several years, and then was at a crossroads and decided that I needed a bit of a change. And the family business, like I said, it was just a natural progression. It just seemed like I felt like it was the thing I needed to do, was to go join my father and join the family business.
And you felt that. I mean, so your background, I mean, you're professional. You came back into it. What pushed you to go back into being an entrepreneur?
I think it's in my blood. I think that I wouldn't know how to be anything else. My family is a family of entrepreneurs, and that's sort of how I grew up. And I've grown up knowing the benefits of being an entrepreneur and the joys of it and the rewards, and then the rewards that you get from it. And I just, like I said, I don't think I could picture myself doing anything different.
Our guest this evening is Patricia Occhiuto. She's from Baie de Fromages. You can always join the conversation here on Today's Entrepreneur at 514-790-0991, especially if it's about family businesses, because Patricia, of course, has grown up in that environment. And we'll talk more about that after the break. It's coming up to 7:15 right now.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult Fuller Landau, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
7:18 on CJD. Welcome back to Today's Entrepreneur, a program about the entrepreneurial spirit that drives Quebec business. Dan Delmar, along with Fuller Landau's Josh Miller, and our guest this evening from Baie de Fromages, Patricia Occhiuto. And Patricia, of course, growing up in a family business. It's important to be familiar with these businesses, Patricia, but you're saying you do have an educational background in accounting. How has that helped you along as far as your managing skills in business, and instead of just sort of going in blind almost without an educational background?
Well, becoming a CA has definitely helped my analytical skills, my financial analysis skills. I think it gave me a good basis to build my business around and to know how to look at things. It gave me an aspect, a certain way to look at things that has helped definitely over the years.
You know, being a female entrepreneur certainly, I'm sure, has its challenges. And with your background, did it help? I mean, did you come across any obstacles when you were starting out in the family business, being a female business person?
Definitely. I think, especially at the beginning when I first joined the business, there's always, well, I wouldn't say it happened very often, but we did come across some instances where certain suppliers who are used to dealing more with men, I felt a little bit of resistance at times. Fortunately, I have to say, overall, it was not an issue, and I didn't have a problem with it. But there were a few instances where perhaps it was a bit of an obstacle.
So we're talking about family business. Are you the only one in the next transition? Do you have other siblings that have come in with you?
My sister Stephanie is actually is my partner, and we work together all the time. So my father, my sister, and I are the three owners, and yeah, we work together every day, all the time. So it's. Do you
have different roles? Are you all rolling up your sleeves? Do you with your accounting background, do you deal more with administration? Your sister, I'm not sure what background she has, and your father, that's been there forever and a day in the old Italian. I know my product absolutely and perfectly. What kind of roles do you share or distribute?
Well, I guess I do a lot of the buying. I take care of a lot of the buying side of it, and my sister takes care of more of the operational side and the handling the employees, dealing with that aspect. My dad just, I guess, generally oversees everything. He's still very, very much involved in the business, so he still sort of touches on everything. And being a family business, we do kind of have to roll up our sleeves and do a little bit of everything. So there's no defined specific roles that any one of us will do and say, oh, well, I'm not doing that because that's not my job description. Like, that doesn't really, it's not an entrepreneur way of looking at things, I guess. And you do what you have to.
And your father is certainly, I'm sure, proud to have his daughters in the business. It was easy a transition. Is it something he looked forward to pass along?
My dad actually, I'm pretty sure, always wanted a son, with with the hopes that the son would take over the business.
She was supposed to be Patrick.
Yeah, yeah. And my parents had me and my sister 2 years later, and actually 13 years later they decided to try for the son finally, and they had twin daughters. So so at that was the point where my dad just realized that he wasn't meant to have sons, and his daughters would have to do. So
and it sounds like you're working very well together and very closely together. But have you had issues? Decisions they happen together.
Decisions happen together. We've been very fortunate in that we work very well together, and I know that's not the case in all family businesses, but in our case, we have been very fortunate. Decisions, especially major decisions, are always made together.
Is it a democracy, or do you have to have a consensus between the three of you?
Well, we generally have consensus. I mean, I can't really think of an instance where one person was adamantly against an idea and the other two wanted it, or we generally all see eye to eye, and we see the benefits and we see the disadvantages of certain things. So we all generally agree on things, and we do work well together, which is very important, I think. I mean, it's one of the key factors to making the business run well. I mean, if you're bickering about things and nothing gets done, you spend more time arguing and discussing, then things just don't move along. So
your business is very interesting because you're not only a retail store but also an importer and distributor. And after the break, we'll get into that import business and discuss how you manage all three of those aspects at the same time. Patricia Okudo is our guest. She's from La Baie des Fromages. This is today's Entrepreneur on CJAD.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult Fuller Landau, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
7:25 on CJAD, inspiring stories from outstanding business people. This is today's Entrepreneur, presented by Fuller Landau. I'm Dan Delmar, along with Josh Miller of Fuller Landau, and our guest this evening, Patricia Okudo of La Baie des Fromages. And Patricia, we're talking about how this was a family business, a store on Jean Talon near Papineau that has been around since '72. At what point did you guys add to the business? You're now into importing as well?
We are. Over the years, my father started to see that the best way to control the products that you get and the quality of the products that you get was to sort of do it yourself, and so he started to import a few products here and there, a few key products, and over the years it just grew and grew, and now we actually import a majority of the products that we sell in the store. So we import everything from the cheeses to the cold cuts, oils and pastas and balsamic vinegars, jams and cookies, and I mean we import, like I said, a majority of what we do sell in the store.
So you're no longer, you were using distributors yourself before?
We were buying from other importers, from distributors, from people who worked locally, and like I said, we just found that the best way to really control, to say, well, I'd like to sell this product in the store, is to really just go out and find that one product that you're looking for.
What kind of challenges did you have when you did expand the business into importing?
Well, definitely. I mean, it was adding more aspects to the business. So we had to implement, just logistically, the importing is more complex in that it's not like purchasing products from a local distributor where you order it on Monday and you receive it by Wednesday. There's timeliness that's involved. There's you always have to consider the time of the merchandise has to be prepared, it has to be shipped. So there's a greater lead time involved in all of it. And we planned for Christmas in June. So we've been, my Christmas season has been going on since June, July already. So it's
And you have 2 Christmas seasons in a way, because you have to import and then do the retail side.
Exactly.
So you're busy, I'm assuming, at this point of year.
Yes.
And there's certainly the perishable side of things, the timing, the delivery, the lead times, and with your analytical background, have you developed a new process or changed the process along the way?
Well, what we've done is with our very perishable products, like certain Italian mozzarella, buffalo mozzarella that we bring in a lot of gorgonzola cheese and mascarpone cheese, and so the fresher cheeses, we'll bring in burrata, which is the mozzarella with the butter inside and the cream. So those products that we bring in that are really fresh and have a short shelf life, what we do is we import them with through air freight. And the stuff that has longer shelf life obviously comes in by boat. So we've had to adapt. I mean, even with that has been an interesting challenge to sort of manage all those different aspects of it.
Well, I think what we find and seeing certainly with the previous guests and other businesses is that knowing your product, the delivery, the transportation, you really have to stay on top of it. In this case, it's perishable items. So perishable items have a certain time frame that you really have to get involved in, a certain temperature that the goods have to be shifted, and you really have to pay attention to a lot of that detail. And this is where entrepreneurs, they really have to focus sometimes. They have to know their product, they have to know where it's coming from, they have to really deal with all these variables, and certainly not every walk is a walk in the park. So there's a lot of issues that entrepreneurs, especially knowing their product, have to deal with. And I think when we come back after the breakdown, I'm sure the shift and the change from the old system and maybe the manual to today's world in the electronic, I'm sure added big benefit to the business, which I'm sure Patricia will share with us.
Today's Entrepreneur on CJAD, presented by Fuller Landau. Our guest this evening, Patricia Occhiuto from Baie de Fromages, And you can always join the conversation, especially if you want to talk about importing fine Italian foods or family businesses. The number here is 514-790-0991, or Start Talk on Bell Mobility. It's 7:30 right now, 7:45 right now.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult Fuller Landau, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
7:47 on CJAD. Welcome back to today's Entrepreneur, presented by Fuller Landau, a program about the entrepreneurial spirit that drives Quebec business. Dan Delmar, along with Josh Miller from Fuller Landau. And Josh, we have our tax guy in studio, Ernie Furt. He is the tax partner at Fuller Landau. Welcome, Ernie.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well.
So we're going to get into, for starters, I guess if anyone has any questions for tax issues when it comes to small business, you can always give us a call at 790-0991. But we want to focus, of course, the Christmas season is coming up. A lot of employers, Astral, giving not a lot of nice bonuses maybe to good employees, some gifts perhaps. So tell us, Ernie, what the process is there, and what are some tax issues that could arise when it comes to these bonuses?
Well, normally, historically, people have given cash bonuses to their employees. And a cash bonus is taxable to the employee and deductible to the employer. But if the employer decides that he wants to give his employees a gift, something that he could use, such as a cheese basket or something of that nature, then the government has a program whereby if you give to an employee something worth $500 inclusive of GST, QST, then it's not a taxable benefit to the employee, which could be quite a big savings for the employee.
Does it make a difference what they give them?
Yeah, it does make a difference. If they give them something, it doesn't make a difference. But if they actually tell them to go to the store and go to purchase it and then bring back the receipt and we'll reimburse you for it, that's a problem, at least on the federal side. Rules are different both federally and Quebec. For Quebec purposes, you could use smart cards, whereby you could go to a store, purchase anything with a smart card, and you cannot redeem it for cash. The federal government, on the other hand, says a smart card is no good. What they want you to do is actually go out and buy that Christmas turkey.
And what about gift certificates?
Gift certificates are near cash. So for purposes of the federal government, they deem that to be a taxable benefit, so that is included in your income. And for Quebec, if it's a gift certificate that is not redeemable for cash, they'll be fine with it.
So anything that's really as close to cash as possible is not good. You want to offer something, gift, whether it be a basket of fine Italian cheeses or, a coat or whatever it may be.
You can buy a computer. There's so many things that you can do. What I've seen over the course of the past few years is that employers don't want to take the time to go ahead and go buy all these products. They want to have their employees do it. But you know what? It's worth it to the employer, and the employee will be much happier if they receive something that they're not going to pay any tax on, especially during the holiday season.
And could this be done for every employee? There's no limit to the number of employees that you do this for?
You can do it for all employees if you so choose. The only thing that limits you is the amount that you're allowed to give on a tax-free basis per year, which is $500 inclusive of GST and QST.
So it's not just for Christmas gifts, it's for any gifts throughout the year, whether if an employee gets married or whatever occasion it may be. You can do gifts for any special occasion. But the total of all the gifts during the course of the year can't exceed 500. If it does, let's say, for example, you give 3 varying gifts during a year: so somebody's birthday, somebody's getting married, and Christmas. And the total, each gift is about $200. So total $600. So at the end of the year, $600 inclusive of GST, QST, there is a $100 taxable benefit. So they're going to take the differential and they're going to apply it and add it onto your T4 at the end of the year. Now, what if the employer says, you know what, I just want to throw a big party, and I'm going to have a big Christmas party, and it's going to be an open bar or whatever they decide to do, and that's their gift to their employees. Are there any restrictions or rules that have to be followed?
Generally speaking, those rules haven't changed for a long time, and there's like a $100 limitation per each employee that attends at a Christmas party or is invited to a Christmas party. The good thing about having a Christmas party or any type of party where all employees are invited is that cost is deductible to the employer, as well as instead of it your GST, QST being recoverable at 50%, 100% is recoverable by the employer.
So, but the key is you have to invite everybody.
Yes, you do.
Whether you like them or not.
Absolutely.
Today's Entrepreneur on CJAD, presented by Fuller Landau. In studio with us this evening is Ernie Furt. He is the tax partner at Fuller Landau. You can always give us a quick call. We have time for a couple of quick questions. If you're an entrepreneur and you have tax issues that maybe you need some help with, the numbers are 514-790-0991 and Star Talk, star 8255 on Bell Mobility. 7:53 right now on CJAD.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult Fuller Landau, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Remaining moments on today's Entrepreneur, Dan Delmar and Fuller Landau's Josh Miller joining you every Monday night, almost every Monday night, unless we're preempted by Habs Hockey. Also in studio is the tax guy from Fuller Landau, Ernie Furt. And Ernie, we're talking about bonuses and such. We have a question at 790-0991 from Brian. Hi, Brian. Brian, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
A question that's usually with a question to end your night. A company gives an employee a $5 lottery ticket. The imputed value of that thing is $5 the time it gets it, and the client happens to be winning $1 million. So is he obligated, or is he legally obligated to declare that as a capital gain on a gift, or does he just sort of walk away like I do and say, "To hell with the government, I'm not going to tell them that"?
Well, the $5 gift of the lottery ticket, that is a benefit from employment because that's the fair market value at the time the gift was given to the employee. Now, if you happen to be so fortunate and win the $1 million subsequently, the lottery prizes in Canada are not taxable. So there's no capital gain to report, and you can spend your $1 million and do whatever you'd like with it. It's a wonderful thing.
Thanks very much for the call, Brian.
So, Ernie, they're entrepreneurs, they're on the go all the time. Is there anything that they tend not to do that you would perhaps say, maybe cross this T or dot the I and it'll save you some headaches going forward?
A lot of people are weak in the documentation aspect of things. They take somebody out for lunch and they fail to indicate on the back of the receipt who they took out. They don't keep mileage logs of business travel. And when I see clients in the office, or one of my partners comes to my door and asks me a question, said one of our clients is under audit, and I say, well, what's the issue here? So I look at the stuff, and generally everything says, well, we need more information. So if you need more information, in reality, somebody is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is keeping that information and keeping those records. Because the more records you keep and the more accurate records you keep, the less likelihood that you're going to have an issue when the government comes knocking at your door.
How long do you have to keep these records for?
The records generally have to be kept for about 7 years.
With all types of records?
For most records, yes. There's many policies, and there's all kinds of different records that one keeps, and your general ledgers are 7 years, your invoices, etc., are all 7.
You know, Dan, and Ernie's bringing up a very important point as far as the entrepreneurs and crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure that the documentation is there. It may not seem important as you're going along because, as I'm sure Patricia can attest to as she's nodding her head here, there's so many other things that you do in the business. There's so many other things that you have to deal with the top line to make sure the bottom line is there, and some of the detail kind of gets left aside. Well, the important thing that the entrepreneur has to understand is that detail can create an enormous amount of headaches going forward. And for the few moments a day or a week or a month that it could take to make sure that that documentation is there so that the compliance and the lovely government auditors that could potentially come into your door would keep them at bay, it's hugely important. And I think that detail stretches right into the entrepreneur spirit as well, and the entrepreneurial business, and understanding your business and understanding the impacts that it could affect. And I think between the two, it's hugely important.
I threw out my receipts from 2009. Now you're making me really nervous.
Yes, well, it's okay. We're here to help, Dan.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh Miller. And thank you also to Ernie Furt, tax partner at Fuller Landau, and Patricia Okudo from Baie de Fromages. We're back next Monday night. You can reach Fuller Landau during business hours at 514-875-2865 or visit their website, www.flmontreal.com. Friendly Fire is coming up next on CJAD. Have a good night.
The opinions of the commentator or commentators are solely those of the commentators and not of CJAD 800 or Astral.